and welcome back to a brand new episode of Women's Herstory with Allison Danger. We just came off a West Coast special where we really dove deep, me and Josh Shibata, talking about the women who have built and are currently building up the West Coast U.S. states even more so. And so I had to get one of the breakout stars of California, none other than the Killer Bae herself. Everybody welcome Heather Monroe.
Hello, it is me, the Killer Bae, Heather Monroe, the goddess of girl power, the base there is, the base there was, the base there ever will be. You're welcome, Allison. I'm here.
Oh my God, that might be the greatest self-introduction ever. And I want to record you doing one for me at some point. And like, I'm going to walk into the grocery store, or hell, I'm going to walk into Target and be like, y'all, boom, Heather knows I'm here. Oh.
Everybody.
Oh, well, I'm so glad you were able to sit down. You came in on short notice, and I greatly appreciate you. I do want to give a quick shout out before we jump in to our unofficial sponsor, Squared Circle Cafe Coffee. It's amazing. If you're a coffee person, drink up. They got mugs, they got pins, they got a great website with lots of stories from Steve Carino's career. I don't know, heard of the guy, heard he's pretty cool. So, but yes, our first sponsor. So, Heather, how have you been in this crazy year that is 2020?
Oh, I guess it's probably the same as everybody, just trying to chug along at this point. But yeah, it's been hard, but I'm kind of getting back into a routine, and kind of it goes in waves. You know how it is.
Oh, it's been a year. It's been a year, and I see some bruises. I see you've gotten back into the ring, my friend.
Yes. This is from my best friend, Taya Valkyrie, who we beat each other up constantly. Oh. It's been nice to have the bruises back, though.
Don't you miss those?
I do, and I like having them. I'm always like, I'm like walking around the house like, like so sore, but it's worth it.
One of my favorite things after a match is going back to the hotel. This sounds so weird. Jumping in the shower. Okay, because you know how the adrenaline kicks in, you wrestle, everything feels good. I remember the adrenaline going when I split my collarbone and broke my sternum. Didn't realize it was broken until we got to the hospital. I was like, yeah, I don't even need pain meds. I'm on top of the world. I just had a great match and I broke stuff. And I was like, yeah, that feeling, that adrenaline you get. But I used to love when I would go back to the hotel, everything would be a little chill. I'd be a little sleepy. I'd hop in the shower. And when the soap hit, all the mat burn and the cuts, and I'd be like, oh God, I'm alive. But it would still hurt, but it was like a good kind of hurt. Like you felt almost accomplished in what you've done. And so I'm assuming that it's like that for everybody, or am I just super weird?
No, I think it's the same. I think it's like kind of battle scars thing. And my body, I'm very fair skinned, obviously, and I have very thin skin. So like I get that mat burn here, I get on my elbows, I get like a rope burn on my back every time, no matter what. So it's like, I'll get in the shower and like, for like the next 3 days after that.
Oh my gosh. But there's no other feeling like it, is there?
No
way. It's pretty
man.
amazing.
And I got to wrestle in front of a crowd the other day for the first time in a while. So it was just lovely.
Was that weird?
You know what? It wasn't. It was actually really nice. I think the weird part was only like the meet and greets or we didn't even do a meet and greet. It was just like after the show or whatever. And you had to kind of be like, you can't, no, don't come near me. Like, but in front of the table, take a picture in front of the table. You don't need to put your arm around me. But I like feel bad saying that. That's like the only weird thing though.
Yeah, but you got to set those boundaries. Like I got to the point where in wrestling where it's like, don't put your arms around me. Don't give me the prom hold, unless like we have that kind of like, okay, relationship fan to wrestler. And Sweet Soraya Knight would always teach people in seminars. She's like, don't let people touch you. You don't know where their hands have been. You don't know. You could be sitting there and everything could be all kosher. And then all of a sudden they're honking you. Or they're grabbing you and you can't control that. And now that picture's out there forever and they think they got one over on you. So she always taught people, she's like, never let a fan touch you. And to this day, I always remember that. So it's always one of those, I got to know you before you put your arm around me or give me a hug or anything like that. But now with COVID and I'm a bit of a germphobe, I'm like, you're lucky if you're just getting the elbow. You might get the man.
Totally. There was some, some fans want to shake your hand and I'm just like, I'm not even like Air 5, like at this point, like we gotta take some precautions here.
Yeah, we got to be smart right now if we ever want things to go somewhat back to normal. I don't know if there's going to be a real normal, but
Not for
fingers
a while.
crossed. No, no, not for a long time.
Yeah.
Not with the way this country is, but that's a whole nother podcast.
No. Don't get me started.
Oh no, you get started on your Twitter. I live for your Twitter. I got
Mhm.
to tell you, I quite enjoy myself when
Thank you.
you lay it out.
I held back for a while because, some companies don't like you being political,
Yeah.
but that's always been who I am. I've just been like, I'm just gonna stand back on this one, but now I'm on I'm like done it once and now it's Pandora's box.
You've opened it.
I've opened it and now it's not going back in.
So what have you been doing these months since we got locked down?
I spent a little time in Arizona with my family because my parents live there. They're in like a retirement community, so I was like locked in there when it first hit, because California and like LA County specifically is still like completely shut down. So when I go to other states, it's kind of like, what's happening? Why can I eat in a restaurant? And like that kind of stuff. But other than that, I spent time there, and then I've just been, I played a lot of video games.
Ooh, what are you playing?
So right now I'm playing the new Avengers, and I bought Tony Hawk. So I've been kind of back and forth with those ones right now.
My husband and daughter got me to play Fall Guys a couple of times, but I'm that person that I can't just sit there and play. It's and I'm moving all around and I'm like, why aren't they going anywhere? And I can't ever get the camera going in the right direction. So I'm really not good. And I talked about on a previous episode, I believe with Nicole Savoy, about me trying to play NHL 18. Mm-hmm. It is ugly. It is so ugly. And I get mad as a former hockey player. I'm like, that's not how hockey players move. And like, I get mean. Like my husband and I've been together forever. And I'm like, the only time he's ever considered divorce is when I'm trying to play NHL 18. And so I get real bitter real quick.
Oh yeah. No, Fall Guys, hated it. It was like so hard to play. And I was just like, everyone told me to play. And I was like, I'm done with this. Like a couple of times in, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Oh my goodness. But isn't the music addictive?
Yes. And it is an addictive game. I think I like more of a game with a story though, rather than that of a game. Unless we're talking old school, like Mario Kart and stuff.
What about like Last of Us 2?
I played Last of Us. I finished that. I got mixed reviews on Last of Us 2, but I think I'm going to eventually play it because someone told me, don't play it, it's not worth it. And then like other people were like, oh, it's so good.
Okay, so. I'm the dissenting vote. I enjoyed it. I found it quite long. I can get why people didn't like it, but I enjoyed it. As somebody who, I sit next to my husband when he plays. I'll read, play on my phone, I'll stitch, whatever. But like, I enjoy it. Like Last of Us, I really enjoyed the Nathan Drake series, Uncharted. Absolutely loved that. Was like emotionally invested in that. So Last of Us 2, I really got into. They introduced that new character, Abby. And you got a bunch of people like, girls don't get muscles like that. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's post-apocalyptic world and she's doing everything for herself. Let the woman have some muscles, okay?
Right.
And I see why people didn't like it, but I enjoyed watching him play it and he enjoyed it. But I think we're a smaller portion of the community that really liked it. He started Ghost of Tsushima this week.
And I have that too. That one, yeah. I bought like 3 games at once because I was just like, oh, I want this and I want that and I want this. And so I'm like, oh shoot, now I have to like have time to play it. Cause like Avengers is like really story based.
Okay.
And then so is Ghost of Tsushima. So I have to like find time. I don't want to play them like at the same time. I want to play them like individually. So I need to play that though. It looks really good.
Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, so you've been playing video games, playing on your social media. You keep that popping, you keep that tight. Now you're back to wrestling. You got to wrestle Taya, who got a quick little shout out on the West Coast special. I'm saving her for when I do a deeper dive into the Women of Impact. But yeah, so tell us, as someone who might be watching, might not know a lot about you, give us a little insight to how you got into wrestling.
Yeah, so I, as everybody did, like watched as a kid. So I've always loved it. It's always something I wanted to do. And then I moved out to Los Angeles in 2012 and kind of bummed around here for a little bit and then kind of found wrestling again when I started watching Total Divas. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot how much I loved wrestling. And then started watching it again and found Santino Bros, which is currently without a home at this point, but based out of Bell Gardens, and started training there. And just kind of, it was just a really good fit. I was trying to act out here for a couple years, and it just never felt right. And so I think it's kind of funny once I started getting into wrestling and everything just kind of fell into place, and I started getting jobs that I would have wanted so bad when I was trying to act and stuff like that. And it just felt right. And my Santino family really helped along the way. And I think I found the exact place that I was supposed to be.
Oh, Santino's, they come up again in this show about like what great talent they put out, especially with female talent. And I really hope they do land on their feet and find a home, because I want to see them continue pushing out more generations of young wrestlers.
Yeah, and they're doing online courses right now. But I do think the plan is to open a new space in January. You know,
Good.
they were just so worried about, like, they couldn't live with themselves if somebody got it and like something like terrible happened. So I think once they saw that other places are kind of open and like being safe and how to maintain that safety, I think they're ready to go now.
Gotcha. That would be great to see them going, because you got a lot of good people coming out there. I recently had a Kathy from HR. I
Yes.
had Alyssa Marino
Old
come
school
on.
Kathy from HR. Oh my
I Gosh, I
gosh.
need to watch even more of that, because I just loved her telling me the stories of that. I'm like, that is so awesome. And she's such a good character and how
Uh-huh.
she would play things. So I really enjoy Melissa and Alyssa. I didn't say Melissa, right? No, that's mine. Every now and then I bobble my words. It's just, side effect of
It
my old
happens.
stroke. But so you got started with Santino Brothers, and then how'd you work into building up your name?
So I actually spent the first year of my career touring with a band, doing a lucha libre opening act with the band Pussifer.
Okay.
So I kind of, I think I came in a little more polished when people started seeing me, which I think helped a lot. But then I went out and did the very first Rise when I was, I think, barely a year in. And I think that gave me some good opportunities. People really got eyes on me from doing that, from eventually then doing a Shimmer. And I've had the opportunity to work with every major company. I've worked with WWE, I've worked with AEW, I've worked with ROH, I've worked with Impact. Like, I think that I've just made it a point to grind and get my name out there in that way, and just continue to better myself along the way. I still go to training at least once a week when things are normal. And even now I'm trying to go to training as much as possible right now, but
That's
I think
great.
it's just about continuing to evolve and better yourself.
And that's one of the great things about wrestling, is I always tell people, you never stop training, never stop studying. The day you stop evolving is the day you stop caring. The day you stop caring, you might as well retire. Like,
Totally.
you see people who've been in, I know people who've been in the business 15, 20 years. They still go to training every week. They still watch tapes. They still ask questions. They still look for that feedback. You always want to keep growing, and not just growing like in ring, but growing your character. Like, your character's evolved from when we first saw you rise to who you are now. And it's really gotten super polished, and like, you own it. You own it when you come out and that music hits and those lights hit and we see you in that big fuzzy jacket. You own that entrance, that ring, that whole match. And I love it. I love the series you've been doing with Lacey Ryan for Championship Wrestling.
Thank
Um,
you. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm a little biased because, that's one skin. That's one game I've got some skin in. So,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah. No,
train once a week with Lacey now.
hmm yeah. And I really, like, when I first started, I thought I had confidence. Everyone, I feel like now I get it. Like, when people say, oh, everyone thinks they know everything when they first start. And I was like, I do know everything. Then I look back at those and I'm like, oh my God, no, not at all. and then like now I've really found myself, and I know, you know, what I'm good at, and having acting and improv background, I think helps with that like confidence and being able to like be in front of a crowd and be like, look at me, or my want for that, I suppose. But yeah, and then like being able to work with people like Lacey and getting the chance to be on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, which gives me more experience in camera and like TV stuff, as I think boosted my confidence as well, and allowed me to become that character that I've now become.
Well, and the wrestling on TV versus wrestling just in front of a live audience, it's two different beasts. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. There's a lot more moving parts to being on, especially live TV. You got to know where every angle is, every camera is. You got to know exactly where you are. Like when we do Shimmer, and if we're not doing it for iPay-per-view, you know, we can do those smoke and mirrors. We have a hard cam, we got a floor cam. We can do cuts here and there. You got to be a lot more meticulous when we're talking about TV tapings and so on and so forth. And you got to be real strict on time. And I don't think people realize how much more work goes into TV tapings for wrestling.
Totally. And there's like a bunch of people in your ear during that too, because they want something specific. Like obviously I love stories in wrestling. That's why I got into wrestling. That's why I've loved wrestling for so long. So I like doing TV stuff because of that. There's storylines, there's stuff to like grow on and all that. So there's like people in your being like, we need this from this match. And that might not necessarily happen at an indie show where there's not necessarily like if I come into Shimmer, I don't have a story right now because I'm coming back and it's brand new for me pretty much. So I'm not going to have like a total story in that match. But if I am Hollywood, me and Lacey have this huge story that's been going for like a year, and you have to like focus in on little things that matter there, which like, oh, we're not going to do something specific in this match because we did it last match and that matters.
Right. And then you've got also that history, that story to build on. And then in Championship Wrestling, you have a manager. Am I correct?
Yes. Halston Body, the prism of excellence.
Oh my goodness, you guys. When you guys did that, what was it, a Falls Count Anywhere match where you guys are outside and somebody gets dumped in the dumpster and all that. I love that match. That match was fun. He's a Who That Ringside. Side.
Yeah, he's very fun, and he always adds so much to our matches. When he came through the same class that Alyssa came through when she was Kathy from HR, because Santino's had a manager, commentator, production course, and I saw him and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect for my character. It will fit in perfectly, and it's even exceeded my expectations of how like we've gelled and kind of evolved with each other over the time that we've had together.
Oh, that's great. Now I'm going to circle back a little bit. You mentioned what got you really got you motivated was watching Total Divas, which I'm going to admit, I'm a sucker for that show. I am not a fan of reality TV, but I will not miss an episode of that. And Total Bellas, it just sucks me in every time. And I'm like, oh man, like I want to go to Cabo and I want to do this and I want to be in the ring in front of all these people. So who from Total Divas really caught your attention and made you go, that's what I want to do?
Well, I don't think there was like one specific person from that. It was, I had watched when I was a kid, and then I watched like my entire life off and on. Like in college, I got really into like more independent, like Impact, like and that kind of stuff. But then watching Total Divas, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I loved wrestling, and I love watching their like how they're living in wrestling and what they're doing for it. I don't think there was one specific person, although I'm sure that Nikki Bella was like my favorite on that show, like hands down. Love Nikki Bella. So probably her inspiration wise would be a good start. And I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. Like, and I've always wanted to. Now I'm an adult and I don't have to ask my mom if I can go train wrestling.
That's one of the weirdest things about being an adult. It's like, I can have candy for dinner, but like, isn't that wrong? And I'm like, wait, I'm an adult. I can. I love that.
So I don't need my mom to sign a release form or a like consent form.
Now, did your mom come to your shows when they were live?
Oh yeah. When I'm in Arizona, she'll come to those shows and she loves it. She like screams and like Except every time I lose, they're like, "Why'd you lose?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry."
Like, I didn't mean to disappoint you, Mom. Don't get a new daughter.
Yeah.
I've had my mom come
She
to
loves coming home though.
I've had my mom come to a lot of shows, and like there's been times where I've like tried to tag my mom in. Like I'll be getting lit up by a baby face. I'll be like, "Mommy, tag in." And she'll be like, "No, you suck. Ew." It's like, "I don't know that girl. Boo." And I'm like, dang, my mom like is either my biggest fan or my loudest anti-fan. And it's funny. Mom Karina does some
That's hilarious.
pretty chill stuff. So who is that female that got you to really go, I need to do this? Like, is there anyone or a couple women that made you go, I got to grasp this. I got to jump in and try it?
Back when I was like first watching it and really, really was like, this is what I want to do, when I was like 11 years old, was Lita. I saw her and I was like, oh my God, I want to do what she's doing. Oh my gosh, she's so cool. She's doing flips. I love it. So she was definitely the main reason I ever wanted to be a wrestler. And then kind of when I grew up and started to watch it more as like right before I started wrestling, women like Maurice and Melina and those women, I would watch and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like the characters that they played always inspired me so much. And like Gail Kim, there was like a bunch of that like diva era women that I saw were like just great characters and so fun to watch, that made me be like, oh yeah, I want to do this.
That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people that I talk to, especially those younger than me, like Lita's a big one that comes up. Trish comes up. Maurice. That's another reality show that I love. Ms. and Mrs.
Ms.
That
and
might be my
Maurice.
favorite of the three. And I got to admit, I wasn't a
I have not watched
huge,
that one.
oh girl, you've got to. I was not a huge Ms. fan until I started watching that. And I'm like, oh yeah, that made him so much more relatable. And I'm like, okay, even as a heel, I like him so much more now seeing him. She's funny. She is just quick-witted,
Oh,
super duper fun and gorgeous. Oh my God. And those babies,
that's
oh
why I
my
always liked
gosh.
her.
Oh,
That's why I always liked the character. I thought she was so funny and like she just like got it with the character.
yeah.
I literally watched a match of her and Gail Kim the other day because we were kind of, me and my roommate were on a Gail Kim little rabbit hole. And then that one came up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot how much I got influenced by Maurice. Like, I don't think I realized it until like watching it now. I'm like, oh, she like really influenced my mannerisms. And I don't think I ever realized that. But
Well, as long as she doesn't come for
like,
10%. As long as she doesn't come for like
I mean,
10% of your earnings, I mean, that.
the hand, I do the hand.
Oh my goodness.
The very Maurice hand.
Right? Oh yeah. She's a fellow Canadian, but she's French Canadian, so you know, my grandmother would have issue with that, but that's another story for another time. I'll tell you that at Shimmer. But yeah, no, I really enjoy Maurice. And I was at a weird point in my career when the Diva Search came out where I was like, oh, the Diva Search. And I didn't love it. Now when I go back to it, I'm like, all right, now I see the appeal, I see the fun. But back then it was like, I'm working so hard and these beautiful girls are just leapfrogging in. But then the ones that really stuck around made something of themselves and made a difference. You know, the Maurices, the Marias, Candice Michelle busted her butt when she was in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it kind of changes. And then getting old kind of mellowed me out a little bit.
Well, when you're in it too, like, and I mean, I have moments like that now because they obviously, like, major companies are still hiring women that have never wrestled in their lives. And you're like, but I want that. And but then you have to think, and it's like, they're still putting in the work and like all that stuff. But it's hard to watch sometimes when you want it so bad. I think that's what it is. And I was watching like as much Shimmer as I could on like YouTube or whatever. When I was in college, I'd sit in my dorm like till 6 a.m. watching like Shimmer and Joshi's and like all of that when I was like really going through my independent phase. So I was there when the Diva Search came out too, and I was like, I don't care about these girls, I want to watch Shimmer. And like
I know, like some
So
people kind of,
I was there with you as a fan.
I know, because now like when fans talk about it, like almost like, okay, well, it comes across a little elitist when it's like, well, I would only watch Shimmer and I would never watch the Divas. And I'm like, no, you gotta watch everybody. You gotta watch everybody. Equal opportunity. Like, watch the Joshies, watch the Shimmers, you know, watch all the other like female promotions. And I kind of, I feel like Shimmer was what helped turned the tide. And now you got like a good mix. Like if you look at NXT, AEW, you look at Impact, you look at RH, you've got gorgeous girls, girls that can wrestle, girls that are both. Like you have unconventional girls. And that's where I think Lita really helped open the door for that unconventional look, you know, with the bright red hair and the tattoos and, you know, the clothing that she wore. She gave you that feeling of, yo, that's the girl next door. That's the girl down the street. That's the girl hanging out at the mall. Like she gave almost, she opened the door and became a pioneer for an alternative look in wrestling. And I think she does not necessarily get the props that she deserves for really kind of changing that tide. So yeah, you had her and then you had the Diva girls. And then on the independents, you could see a lot more diversity coming in. And except in like when Lita really made her debut, because everybody on the indies tried to look like her, myself included. I had the pleather pants and the fishnets.
I mean, that was the thing.
That was the trend there.
If 11-year-old Heather like could be a wrestler, I would look so much different than I do now. I was gonna come out with like hardcore music. I was gonna wear like baggy pants. I was always planning on wearing tights and like, you know, I would look completely different if I like did what I originally wanted to do, if I like would have followed Lita at that point.
Oh man, yeah, I had the pleather pants. They're somewhere. I think I sold them after I retired. I sold most of my gear and stuff, but you know, she was a heavy influence. And then if you see like around 2005, 2006, all the independent girls started doing more of the Joshi style gear because like, let's put it there, man. That scene has the best gear. Absolutely love it.
Oh my God,
so flashy and so crazy. And I'm like, how do y'all get into half that stuff? Because there's straps and fringe and buttons and all sorts of things. I'm like, oh, and it's so colorful. It moves like really cool when they move. And so that's what I wanted to be. And then finally I just, you know, had a kid and realized, okay, I am not what I used to be. So let's go with tights and a shirt that fits. And that's where I'm going to go. And that just became about form and function.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And you find what works for you as you go along. Got to test the waters a little here and there.
And
I will never go back to a two-piece. Never.
No, but I like you in the one piece. I think the one piece fits you perfectly. Like, you know, both
Totally.
gear and just like in level of comfort. And that's one of the things I try to tell girls now. I'm like, if y'all want to wear those booty shorts, that's great. But like, don't be playing with it. Don't be pulling them up, pulling them out. Like if it's going to give you a wedgie, roll around when you get your new gear. Don't debut with it at a show and then have a wardrobe malfunction. Like you gotta roll around and practice with it and make sure it's the right thing and make sure it fits. And I think it's harder for you guys that came in way after me, because when I broke in, we didn't have social media. Yeah. And now with social media, I'm like, even if you do the smallest show, stuff's going to get out there. So if you kind of poop the bed a little bit, everybody's going to know. And, you know, for me, most of my earlier wrestling matches started at ROH, which is nerve-wracking to begin with because that's a big crowd and they weren't very warm to the women's wrestling, let me put it.
Yes. I watched a lot of ROH too back in the day.
Did you? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Whatever I could get my hands on YouTube, I was watching.
The Lacey, Danger, Daisy, Tracy, Mickey James days.
Yes. Oh my God.
Mischief.
Daisy Days is somebody that doesn't get talked about enough. Mischief. I wanted to do her, I can't remember what she used to call it, but the scissor DDT. That's what I wanted to do for my finish. I wanted to do Mischief's finish. Can't make it work. Tried a million times. It just doesn't look as good as how she used to do it.
That body defies gravity and flexibility. And I remember at an ROH show, she was like, I'm going to do the second rope DDT. I'm going to put you in the Shattered Dreams and I'm going to jump up and I'm going to hook you. And then we're going to go like a pile driver. And I'm like, Yeah, cool. Let's do this, Chef. And I remember we did it. And it actually was more painful for her than it was for me. She protected me great, but essentially, like, she comes off the second and like kind of buries me down, but she's got to land on her knees. And I remember being in the back, and Jim Cornette was with Ring of Honor at the time, and he's like, "What the bleep was that? You two are crazy. Y'all could have gotten her." And he's screaming at us, and we're just like, "Dude, we're good. We're good. Jim, we're okay. Everything's fine." He's like, "That's nuts." But like, she was so good and so innovative and so bendy. When her and Kong had that match where Kong put her up in like a torture rack and then had like her feet here and her head here and just went boom. Like, you could see Kia going, "Oh, I can do this." And you could just, you see the wheels turning in Kia's head. She's like, "Oh yeah, cool. I can do this." Boom, boom, boom. And we're all in the back on the monitor going, "No, she's dead. No." It was craziness. It was crazy. But yeah, I don't think Chiff gets enough love. I don't think Daisy Hayes gets enough love. And people were rough
And
on
those,
Daisy.
oh yeah, those women, like women, those are the women that I was watching, and I was like, when I become a serious wrestler, this is who I'm gonna be. And then I'm over here, I'm not. I mean, I am a serious wrestler, but I'm not a serious wrestler.
Right. No, you've got a good balance of the two. You're very character driven, but you know how to bring it home. And like, yeah, Josh
Yes.
spoke very highly of you in the previous episode. Like,
I do love Josh.
yes, there was a Roman
Good man.
Reigns comparison. So I just dropped it the day we taped today. I dropped it this morning. We're taping on Friday the 2nd, and this will come out on the 9th. But yeah, you got a Roman Reigns comparison. So
Heck yeah.
I know. I wish your bank accounts would reflect that same comparison, right?
That would help. But I'll get there eventually.
One day. You'll be a star. It's just, as we said, we think it's a matter of who's going to grab you, not a matter of if anyone picks you up. I don't see you going through the rest of your career not without a contract. You know, somebody's going to get.
Thank you. I hope that's true. I have high hopes for myself. I had a lot that was supposed to be happening in 2020 that did not happen, which was obviously very hard. And I know that a lot of people have experienced that as well, but I had like life-changing stuff that was going to happen. And so I'm like, it was really hard. That I was really rough on myself at the beginning. So now I feel good. Like, I'm in a good place and I'm starting to do stuff again. And it's definitely helping my mentality, because there was some major stuff that was supposed to be happening that didn't.
Yeah, I proclaim 2020 as my year, and I'm about 8 months behind schedule of where I planned on being right now. This was the year where I was really gonna make a run to get signed somewhere, and this was the year I was gonna buy a house, and this was the year I was gonna start saving for my man to get a Tesla, because my man wants a Tesla one day.
Oh, heck
And
yeah.
I'm like, "Baby, I want to make that happen for you."
Sugar mama.
I know, that's the goal. I would love to be a sugar mama, because he's the best, but that goes without. So let's look towards the future. We're dropping this the weekend of the Collective in Indianapolis. 3D pro wrestling in front of 25% of the fans, but it's still going to be 500, which 25% of the fans, but everything's going to be on Fight TV. So make sure, Fight with an F, FITE.TV. Make sure you order stuff. You can order the whole Collective. You can order bits and pieces. If you're ordering anything, it has to be Shimmer, because I'm going to be backstage and Heather's going to be in the ring. And so How hyped are you for that weekend?
I'm so hyped. Obviously, because I was a huge fan when I was younger, that was always one of my goals in wrestling. And I got it on an accident the first time. So it feels nice to go back and like be a fully formed wrestler now. So I'm really excited to get the opportunity to show who I've become now on one of my favorite independent promotions. Very excited about that.
I know, I'm very excited to see everybody and see how the show goes. And I'm your agent, so just listen to me. I'm everybody's agent that weekend. So yes, but no, I'm really excited to see everybody. It's gonna be great to have Shimmer back, and it's been weird not having any Shimmer action for like a year. That's crazy.
I know. And I was very excited to be part of the WrestleMania one because I just feel like there's something in the air during the WrestleMania week at the Independence. So I think that's the awesome thing about the collective in general is it's kind of going to give us that thing of like, oh, that's something in the air where we're just all like loving what we're doing and having a good time safely. So
6 feet apart, 6 feet apart,
Yes.
except in the ring. Yeah. And like, I feel like WrestleMania weekend, it always looks like everybody steps their game up, they're all hardworking people, but you work even a little bit harder. And it was one of the things I liked about Shimmer is that when I come to Shimmer and I haven't seen everybody in 6 months, like everyone looks really good. Like you can see everyone's been working hard and everybody's improving and everybody's got better gear than they had last time and, more moves and more polished. And I'm like, I love how much effort people are putting into that. Because if I see the same person weekend after weekend after weekend, it kind of molds together. But if I go 6 months and then I see everybody, I'm like, damn, you guys have been working hard. And that, I always leave that weekend tired, with no voice, but so happy about pro wrestling and just so happy to see everybody doing what they love. And to have it like threefold is pretty cool. And so I'm really looking forward to the collective weekend. And
I'm excited to see everybody because that's like, honestly, that's like one of the things that I miss the absolute most about wrestling is getting to see all my friends that don't live around me. Mm-hmm. So it'll be really nice to see all the girls from different parts of the country that I would be seeing like more regularly before and now haven't been able to see for a while.
I know, it's going to be great. And it's going to be everyone's going to be doing the whole, hey, how have you been? Well, it sucked. This year has sucked and that's it. And so we'll get all those formalities out of the way real quick. Did you have a good 8 months of being locked in your home? No. Me either. Cool. Yeah. Let's wrestle.
Yeah.
Let's wrestle. So tell me, before we wrap this up, do you have a dream opponent or opponents? Like, is there a little list of who you would really want to jump in the ring with? Somebody you haven't been with before?
This is always such a hard question for me to answer because I just feel like I have so many. Like, ultimate dream opponent would probably be Lita.
Okay.
If I could get in the ring with her, or Molly Holly. I think that those would be like some of my main ones. I would love to wrestle like current people that are wrestling, like Serena Deeb.
Yes.
Love to wrestle her.
Oh, you and Deeb would be so good. Her arm drags are like Steamboat-esque.
Yeah. I mean, she's also somebody that I always watched, and now I think she's like even at the top of her game now. Yeah. She looks amazing, and she's doing great work. Yes.
And she just got signed by AEW, who you got to work with this summer.
Yes,
exactly. You did good.
Yeah. Thank you.
So it's like AEW, if you're watching, you should, 1, sign Heather Monroe, and 2, her and Serena, we need a little dream match, little dynamite match. Let it happen, because I would be super stoked to see that.
I think that'd be a good one.
Yeah, I love that. So, well, I want to thank you so much for spending your afternoon with me. I appreciate you guys taking the time out, chatting with me. So before we go, I'm going to give you an opportunity to plug whatever you've got going on. It's this camera, only this camera. Can you tell I'd like to watch the TV show Hot Ones? Just this camera. The floor is yours. Heather Monroe, go.
All right. So you can follow me at Heather is Me on Twitter and Instagram. I do have Shimmer at the Collective coming up on Fight TV. You can also watch Primetime Live on Fight TV, which I'll be making appearances on every now and then, every Tuesday pay-per-views. Championship Wrestling Drama Hollywood is something you can watch on Fight TV as well. So find me on Fight TV.
And you have a Patreon too, am I correct?
Oh, I do have a Patreon. Yes, I do have a Patreon, Heather Monroe. And also you can check out matches coming up with Hurricane Pro on Title Match Network as well, which is where you can watch me versus Taya Valkyrie from last weekend.
Yay, I want to watch that. I love Taya.
We beat each other up. That's why I'm still bruised.
Taya is going to beat up my bank account if she keeps dropping these cute clothes. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Just you wait. There's more.
I know the Halloween stuff. I know the Halloween stuff just dropped, but that shrug, I keep telling her, I'm like, girl, if you make it in red, I'm just going to go ahead and put my credit card on file with you and just ship as it comes in. Because her stuff is so cute. And cheerleader Melissa and I were chatting because we live near each other. And she was telling me the jammies are so soft.
Oh, the like ones, the top and bottom, like camo looking ones.
Yes.
Yes, they're like satiny. It's really nice. I got a pair of those too.
Well, guess I know what I'm doing after we sign off here. Little online shopping shop.
Oh yes.
So Heather, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I cannot wait to see you. Once this drops, I'll be seeing you in like a day or two after. So yay, we're going to party in our masks with our hand sanitizer and our Lysol. Because you know me, I'm going to be in the back of that locker room, Lysol, everything.
Totally.
So I wonder who's going to come to the ring. Who's the first person that's going to come to the ring Lysoling as they walk by as part of their gimmick?
Ooh.
Could be you.
Well, I was going to say high end.
Oh, that might be high end. Yeah.
It's going to be high end.
Yeah, it's going to be her. We're going to see. We're going to be in the back going, all right, is she going to do it? Is she going to do it? Yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Heather. I can't wait to see you. And I want to say thank you to the fans for tuning in every week. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit me with your comments. If you know us in the comments section, I write back. I want y'all to wear a mask, wash your hands, love one another, and join me next time for our episode of Women's Herstory with Allison Danger. Thank you.